You honor life by sharing your story. Don't let the admin or the coordination steal your fire for your dream. One secret to wind myself down, if I need to. This is so human, and many of you probably have never even tried this.
Okay, first tears shed on GrowthDay morning show.
Hi, Jamie. Good morning.
Good morning.
We are both on absolute launch mode, everybody. It's like we're launching GrowthDay, the brand. She's launching Believe It, her book. Comes out next month. Make sure you get a pre-order on Amazon or go to believeit.com. And Jamie's really pushing hard too. We are crushing. It's intense. It's focused. It's hard. It's exhausting. Who's cranking right now? Let us know down below. Who's cranking? Who's working? Who's launching? Jamie, it's hard, huh?
So hard. And I was embarrassed to admit this to Brendon because he is like the master at high performance habits. But I was telling him that yesterday, you know, I had the blessing of doing this magazine shoot all day and then video interviews, all the stuff for press, right? Because the book's coming out in a few weeks. I was so, and then, you know, if you've ever had a long day, maybe you have like a long day of Zooms, right? And then for the first time at the end of a full day, you feel like, oh, wow, now I get to see my emails and all the things I'm so behind. It was one of those days, and I was embarrassed to share this with Brendon, but listen, it's the GrowthDay morning show and we're keeping it real.
Doing it.
I was so tired and I literally decided instead of sleeping, this somehow made sense at the time. Maybe someone else out there will feel me right now, but I was like, I'm not going to go to sleep. I'm going to watch The Bachelor. And I'm gonna order food delivered that's not healthy. I'm like, what am I doing? This is not a high performance habit. I was so tired that somehow
you were decompressing.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that it was the right decision because this morning I got up trying to do my morning routine and I went walking and I'm like, why am I dragging? Like, I feel like I'm dragging. I'm like, oh yeah. Instead of sleeping, instead of eating really healthy food that nourishes my cells and my body, and I literally watched The Bachelor last night after a full 20-hour day.
Yep.
20-hour day of exhaustion. So, you know.
Well, nothing like The Bachelor to turn your brain off. We all need to do it sometime. Listen, I got no judgment to it. Denise, my wife, she loves that show too. And I'm just like, a good thing about television or entertainment is it's an escape from the day. It can activate a different part of your brain, turn off another side of it, take you from creator, strategizer, builder, you know, manifester into consumer, just consuming something. It literally shifts the brain waves a little bit into more of a passive state. And sometimes that can be good. It just kind of lowers it down a little bit in terms of the strategic thinking. Another option, if you do want to high performance habits, some of you have huge projects due this week, next week. You've got quarter, results you're charging towards for this year as we're kicking it off. A lot of you are doing rebrands, launching new things. I know you're super busy. It's super, super difficult. Jamie and I were talking. I call it a launch window. Officially, sometimes I call it a hot mess. But it's those times when you are going for like 2-3 weeks, just so intense, or 2-3 months. I mean, super intense, super focused. And I was telling Jamie, my routine is, so I get my morning routine in, I get some food. I basically work all day. I take every 50 minutes, I take a break, stand up, deep breaths, close my eyes, that kind of thing. Then I also basically work straight till dinner. Then we have dinner. And if I'm in launch mode, then it's from dinner till, near bedtime, I'm working. But one secret to wind myself down, if I need to, is go, and this is so human, and many of you probably have never even tried this, go walk at night. Go let the dark come in on you. Let the evening sound and air penetrate your spirit, and like your body just goes, oh, you're not in fluorescent lights anymore or LED lights, and everything gets kind of, simple, like 1 mile walk, at night with no phone, unless you need it for safety, but for real. And so it's like, just go walk, come home, close your eyes, maybe put a heat pad on your neck, and sit on the couch for just 2-3 minutes, or lay on the floor for 2-3 minutes, and just let it all shut down, then go to bed. And that will help a deeper evening sleep, but it also isn't as frenetic because we know television also causes a lot of anxiety and drama. The biggest study in psychology ever been done on television is that it creates a low level of stress. So because all the drama, so you're still creating a little stress. So now your sleep rhythm isn't as good, even though you might feel tired. But you'd feel tired anyway. You had a huge day yesterday. Anyone who's ever done interviews before or been on the phone all day, and then you, like she said, you come back to your emails. So how did you handle it? Like when you woke up this morning, how do you think about all those emails and you're way behind on work? What do you do?
Yeah. For me, I'm, trying to make the big things, right? And so it's, and I love that you call it launch mode and so many people commenting right now. I love this so much. Everyone's live together, right? The GrowthDay Morning Show on Facebook and Instagram, and reading what you guys are doing. And maybe you're not doing a launch. Maybe you're actually just starting a dream, or you're ideating a dream, right? I know a lot of you have been DMing me on Instagram saying, hey, I'm starting my book. I'm starting to write my story. I'm starting to share my story. And, I found, Brendon, that this has ramped up so big, so fast. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, in my own mind, I'm compartmentalizing a little bit. I'm getting better at carving out time. So I have a time window today on my calendar, actually, for email responses. I normally don't slot times like that. I know you do. You're so good about that. And I'm trying to make the big things the big things. And so today, it's the first time ever I'm doing an insider group for my book launch. And so anyone who pre-orders the book can join this insider group for free. We're just doing it for the next couple of weeks, just through the book launch. But I'm going live today to actually read the introduction from the book. And then everyone who joins gets a copy of the book early before it launches. And so I've never done anything like this before, ever, right? When we built It Cosmetics, like we have over 7 million customers in the US, and we built this amazing movement, and it was really fueled and continues to be fueled by customers all coming together. And I did a lot of QVC and things like that, but I've never created a community where I went live into it and things like that. So the GrowthDay Morning Show is just so much fun, and super honored to be part of it. And then as part of the book launch, I'm doing that insider. Which
Where can they go to find out about this insider thing?
So believeit.com/team, or it's right on my Instagram. The link is right on the top, and yeah, anyone can join it, and it's super fun. But today kicks that off, and it's a whole new thing. And for me, and
building community now, like purposely for a specific launch coming up, which is cool.
Yeah, and it's like I read everyone's stories, just like I read everyone's comments right here, and it's the big thing. I feel like anybody who's spending their precious time with us, who's like-minded, who wants to grow, who wants to serve, who wants to, that's the big thing. So I'm like, okay, all these legal emails, and because there's all the not fun stuff about a launch, right? Or anyone down here commenting about their dream they're starting.
Paperwork. Who's tired of the paperwork? I'm drowning in paperwork and DocuSigns 24/7 for, I don't know, like 10 years. It's part of it. It's the thing they don't talk about when you guys are all chasing a dream. There is the suck. There is the administrative thing, unless you love that part. There's the coordination thing. Jamie's got an event coming up. And I was kind of teasing, like, I get it. Like we used to do 8 of these a year. Now with GrowthDay, we're going live with new teachers for you every week, practically starting in February. And so think about that. It's like all the coordination to like schedule that teacher, get them on the internet, go live, send out the emails, send out the notifications, send out the texts. And that's just one person, like that's all month long. And so guys, it takes a lot of coordination. And I would say, don't let the admin or the coordination steal your fire for your dream.
Yeah.
No, I always tell people, would you still chase your dream if you knew 50% of the time you're doing menial tasks,
so true.
crap coordination, a million emails? Do you still want your dream if 50% of the time chasing and living the dream kind of sucks? Would you still, if you love it that much, that means you have to love it 150%, You
know what, and two things on that. One, about all the GrowthDay coaches that are coming in live. I am so excited about this. And just to share personally, I don't know if I could have gotten through the last 6 weeks, especially, but maybe even 6 months, without how brilliant some of the other Growth Day coaches are, and then
Yeah.
literally me having the blessing of getting some of their advice. I mean, it's been, and you know, these are people that all get offered $100,000 to give a 1-hour keynote, as you do all the time, Brendon. And the fact that you're getting them all together, that everybody is going to get, I mean, for their $1 a day, everyone's going to get them coaching them and be able to go live with them, right? That's so different than going out there and watching a video somewhere. To be part of something where you can interact live is so revolutionary, but also just, you know, you've spent decades building these relationships with like the smartest thought leaders out there. And so they obviously trust you, and they're all coming together as part of Growth Day. I think that's so special. And I'm excited, not just to be in there serving and all together, but also to be, you know, I'm a lifelong student. And one other thought to share on what you were just saying about how so many of us want to create, and we have a dream and we want to start this, or we're doing that, or we're launching a course because we want to serve other people, whatever it is, right? But then you have that other half of it. I saw one of our mutual friends, Danielle Kenty from Boss Babes, was posting, talking about how
Yay.
if she does the admin stuff, she literally can't create for at least 2 hours. So she has to divide up her day.
Block time, yes.
Block time. And I wanted to ask you about that, because, you know, so many of us have these things we want to do, and yet there's everything else that comes with it. And it is, I've found that, you know, for me, it's rapid fire all day. There's so many things, as you know, the bigger you build your dream, and maybe, you know, I have author on my head, right? So, because so many people are DMing me their stories about writing their stories. We had Sherry
launching
Salata.
videos, launching things, launching businesses. I love that.
Yeah.
When we go live for you all and you tell us what you're working on,
Yes.
I mean, I love when you cheer us on in the comments, and I appreciate that. But I also love when you share what you're working on, because we can see it. We see your questions. It's helping us make this better, and we really need your help with that. So any comments or what you're working on is awesome. But yeah, you mentioned Sherry was in yesterday, and she's launching something.
Well, Sherry Salata, who was the co-president of OWN, Oprah Winfrey Network, forever, and then also executive producer of the Oprah Winfrey Show. She was in our morning show yesterday, and afterwards I sent her a quick text and said, "Oh, I hope you're okay. I called you out." And she was, you know, one of the things she's doing is really, she spent decades all around the power of story and of sharing your story, right? Oprah is obviously the best in the world at being vulnerable enough to share her own story, her own life. And then, you know, also all of the guests that would come on her show felt comfortable enough to actually like reveal the real and share their stories. And so human connection everywhere was formed. And it was just, obviously everyone knows the story, but, you know, I think Oprah's one of the greatest living teachers alive right now. And Sherry's doing a whole thing now around the power of story, which is great. But so many people from the Growth Day community are sending messages, and they're talking about just the idea of sharing their story in different ways, right? And for some of us, we're not even going to share it publicly. We're just going to, for the first time, really start journaling and sharing our story with ourselves and finding our way back to ourselves. And for other people, they've never, ever taken that time to actually share their own story in any capacity, right? And
even at work or at home or with the kids. You know, I know so many parents, their kids don't know their story. I know so many people at work who literally don't know their coworker. And then what the coworkers do is we blame the coworkers. Well, they don't really know me. Well, have you ever really asked to sit them down and learn their story and share your story with them? I feel like it's a super hidden secret in personal development, is exactly what you're talking about with Sherry's discussion about sharing your story, is learning to verbalize who you are to people. So they have a chance of knowing you, supporting you, loving you, cheering you on. So many people don't get the support that they want or the community they want, and then they blame other people when it's like, oh, you have to be vulnerable. You got to open that gate, babe. You got to open it up. Yeah. You got to say, this is who I am. This is what I struggle with. This is what I'm about. This is what I'm, that sharing of our stories is what you, like the human story is the story of each other, sharing our path with each other. And it's only when we think we're so different than everybody else, or that other people are so different than us that they won't understand, that we shut down. and then we don't share it. So I love that you are calling this out as this is a personal growth principle, y'all. Share your story with your kids. Yeah. Share your story with your coworkers. Share your story if you do it for, like we do it, for a living, So I think that's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing.
And I think too, another part of it is so many people crave connection and crave belonging and all of that, but they fear if they share their story, they won't get that. And so they kind of show up as one of the things I shared and was talking about a lot at Influencer, actually, at your event, was it's like when we're so tempted to show up as our representative. Do you know what I mean? And even between coworkers, or even in circles of friends, or even, on Zoom calls, right? And it's we think in order to be accepted or feel belonging or be enough, that we need to show up as our representative of the person people want to expect of us and see, so that we're like them. But really all that does is prevent real connection and real belonging and real fulfillment. So, just from your own years and years of experience with this, what's your advice on for everyone out there who is like, oh, I've never shared my real story to my own family. Like, I show up at Thanksgiving and we have turkey and we try not to talk about politics and all the things, but like, it's scary, it's vulnerable to actually start sharing your story, or in coworkers, or in circles of friends, or in, you know what I mean? So what are your tips on that for people out there that they're not going to type about this because it's embarrassing, but maybe they don't know how to start sharing their own story inside their own family with themselves in private, right? Because sometimes we don't ever do the act. We don't ever take the time to actually go, what is my story? You know what I mean? And to really do that work. And then also with coworkers.
Everything I always give advice for, and you all know I've been giving advice for a long time, and I give a lot of it. So forgive me.
You're really good at it.
Forgive me for it. But everything I always come back to is this idea to have reverence for life. And let me tell you how that manifests in your question of sharing your story. I have reverence for life. What that means is I believe I'm put here for a reason. I believe that I'm guided. I personally believe in God. I believe that I have been given my life's journey as a gift. The good times, the hard times, the tragedies, the brain injuries, the broken body, the difficulties I faced in my life in every area, from bankruptcy to making it to, emotional turmoil, to all the things we all face as we're trying to live a good life. All that to me is a gift. I feel that life is a gift. I have reverence for life. And when you feel like you've been given a gift, when you can really take in that, the first thing that you want to do is share, right? When you've been given too much, who has been given, we always say has a lot of responsibility. But the truth is, if you really have that generous receiving spirit, when you can receive the gift of something from someone else or from your creator, you want to share that gift. And so coming out of the holidays like we have, the way I think about it is my life, your life it's a gift. Your journey has been a gift. Share the gift with others. How do you share the gift of your journey and your life's, purpose, path, difficulties, vulnerabilities with other people? Story. You sit them down and you say, let me tell you this story. And you tell them about your elementary school or your childhood or your grandpa or your grandma or that teacher or that person who mentored you, or that time when you were down in the dumps, but you rose out anyway. That is sharing the gift. The gift is your life. And the way you share the gift of your life is only two ways. Story, right? Communication, the ultimate human skill, right? Communication, or service, doing something for others. The only way to take a gift is to either speak that gift or give the gift. And so the way I tell people, like, sit down and if it starts with journaling, write, what are some of the stories of the gifts of my life? What are some of the blessings? And don't write like, I'm thankful for the kids. No, write scenes. I taught this to our beach gang, right? It's the power of visualization, of seeing scenes in your life. Instead of going, writing a list of things you're thankful for, journal, write out the story of the scene that you saw. So instead of saying, I'm thankful for my dad, I would think, okay, I'm thankful for my dad. What's a moment, a scene I can see in my memory of me and my dad that I'm thankful for that scene? That scene was given to me. Like the creator directed that scene for me. And I was like, oh, that time when I got to take my dad to the Vietnam Memorial Wall that was traveling. So a lot of people don't know this, but the Vietnam Memorial Wall travels around the country, goes to all the different states. And so there's the one in Washington, D.C., but they have a mobile one that's real life size, and they set up in cities. My dad did 3 tours in Vietnam. And so when I was in college one year, I came back in the summer, and he asked me to go to this thing, and I didn't know it was a big deal. I said, okay, whatever. So we go there, we drive, and as soon as we're there, you feel the weight, because if those who haven't seen it, on the Vietnam Memorial Wall, it's all the persons who passed away, their name, carved in limestone or in granite, depending on which one is traveling. And so I'm there. My dad ended up bringing one of his medals, and he put it there, and he was just walking back and forth. I could feel like, wow, this is a big moment. We go back to the car, and Dad's driving. I go around the car to get in, and I hear the keys jangling, and I kind of look up, and he looks funny. So I'm like, are you all right? And I walk back over, and his hands are shaking, and he can't get the key in the door. He's so emotional. And he kind of just falls in my arms, and I hug my dad, and I'm kind of holding him up. And this is my dad, my hero, my strength, he's a Marine. And first time as a man, I'm supporting my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful I got to experience that, because I drove home, and then we had a short conversation about it. And I went downstairs, I cried about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, my dad. And I'm so happy that I got to experience my dad when I was growing up, when I was a man. It makes me so thankful. And so I can write on a piece of paper one day, I'm grateful for my dad, or I can journal about that scene. And when you journal about the scenes in your life, you realize the scenes are stories. Like I just got to tell a story about my dad. My dad was a huge gift to me. He taught me, be yourself, do your best, be honest, treat people with respect, take care of your family, follow your dreams, be a good citizen. That's what my dad taught me. So I'm always telling stories of my dad to carry on his legacy. And your kids are going to tell stories about mom to carry on your legacy. And so if we can realize our stories are gifts, that was a gift that I got with my dad. And if I can journal about that or share that, then I carry on legacies. That's the human narrative. We carry on each other's legacies by telling stories. So you honor life by sharing your story. You honor life by recognizing those stories like that mean something to you. So I'm just encouraging everyone, tap into the stories of your life. If you never sat down with a high performance journal or another journal to write down the beautiful scenes of your life and feel them, and then tell a friend about them. Hey, let me tell you about my dad, and just say it. That's how people get to know you. And that's the beauty of life.
Whew. This is coffee, but it almost needs to be wine right now. Like, that was so powerful. This was, on Growth Day on the morning show, like our hope and prayer is to inspire all types of growth, right? And some days we're talking about business growth and tactical growth. But the power of everything you just said, and the power of this idea of every one of us growing and learning how to share our own stories, I believe that impacts every part of your life, including the business stuff, including everything, right? When we get better in touch with that authentic through line of who we are and start to share it, so powerful.
That's it.
So powerful. Okay, first tears shed on Growth Day morning show.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember, you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.